All right, let's just dive right in. We have all been there, right? That one conversation you're dreading, the one where everything feels like it's on the line. Well, today we're going to break down the amazing tools from the book Crucial Conversations to help you handle those exact moments. Think about a tense moment with a neighbor. The conversation goes from a simple chat about a fence to this huge battle over 3 inches of dirt. Your heart starts pounding, your voice gets tight. It happens so fast. Or, hey, what about with a roommate? Something that seems so small, like borrowed clothes, suddenly feels like this massive sign of disrespect. And before you know it, you're either screaming at each other or just avoiding them altogether. And look, this isn't just about our personal lives. At work, a single sentence like this can just hang in the air, packed with tension, threatening people's jobs and the entire team's vibe. These moments, they're just everywhere. The book we're exploring today actually has a name for these moments. It calls them crucial conversations. And they're crucial because they can literally make or break our relationships, our careers, and, believe it or not, even our health. So, what is a crucial conversation exactly? Well, it's got 3 key ingredients. 1, the stakes are high. 2, opinions are all over the place. And 3, emotions are running strong. When those 3 things crash together, that's when we're in the danger zone. Which, leads to the big question. If these conversations are so incredibly important, why are we often at our absolute worst when we're in them? The short answer? It's just biology. The second we feel threatened, our bodies flood our system with adrenaline. We go straight into fight or flight mode. It's not something we choose. It's an automatic physical thing. So here's where our bodies basically sabotage us. Blood is literally pulled away from the parts of our brain that do higher level reasoning and sent straight to our muscles so we can fight or run. As the book so perfectly puts it, we end up trying to solve complex social problems with the brain power of a rhesus monkey. And the cost of getting this wrong is just staggering. We're not just talking about hurt feelings here. The research in the book links these failed conversations to stalled careers, broken communities, and even our physical health. We're talking weaker immune systems and maybe even shorter lives. It's serious stuff. But here's the good news. There is a much better way. It is a skill, and it's called dialogue. And it's the path that the most effective people on the planet take. So, what's their secret? How do they manage to stay calm and constructive when pretty much everyone else is losing their cool? Well, they focus on this one incredibly powerful concept, creating what's called a pool of shared meaning. So their goal isn't to win the argument or to be right or to force their agenda. Their only goal is to get all the important and often really sensitive information out into the open. Because the more meaning you have in that shared pool, the smarter your final decision is going to be. Okay, so that sounds great, but how do we actually do that? Let's get practical and break this down into a 3-step toolkit that you can literally start using today. The framework is so simple and so powerful. First, you've got to work on yourself. Second, you make the conversation feel safe for everybody involved. And third, you learn how to share your own tough messages in a way people can actually hear. So, step 1. This is the foundation for everything. Before you even open your mouth, you have to get your own head and your own heart in the right place. Because the most skilled communicators realize the only person they can truly control is themselves. And here's the key mental move you have to make. We all tell ourselves stories to make sense of what's happening. But usually, we make the other person out to be the bad guy, the villain. The trick is to stop that story in its tracks and ask yourself a simple, game-changing question. Why would a reasonable, rational, and decent person do what they're doing? That question just short-circuits all the blame and opens you up to curiosity and, eventually, dialogue. So once your own head is on straight, your next job is to make the conversation feel safe for the other person. Because here's the bottom line. When people feel unsafe, dialogue is completely impossible. It just stops. You have to constantly be on the lookout for the 2 big warning signs that safety is at risk: silence or violence. Silence isn't just not talking. It can be withdrawing or masking what you really think. And violence is any move to control, label, or attack the other person. The second you spot either of these, your number 1 job is to step out of the conversation and do whatever it takes to restore that feeling of safety. Okay, you've managed yourself, you've made it safe. Now, what do you actually say? This last step is all about how you can speak persuasively without coming across as abrasive. And the book gives us this fantastic 5-step model called STATE. First, share your facts. Start with what you can objectively see or hear, because facts are the least controversial place to begin. Then, tell your story. That's the conclusion you've drawn from those facts. Next, ask for their path. Genuinely invite their perspective. Then, talk tentatively. Share your story as a story, not as gospel truth, using phrases like, "I'm starting to wonder if." And finally, encourage testing. Make it clear you want them to challenge you if they see it differently. This is a formula for sharing really hard truths while keeping respect intact. Look, all this amazing, skillful dialogue is completely pointless if it doesn't lead to some kind of action. The very last piece of the puzzle, and you could argue it's the most important, is turning that shared meaning into real-world results. And the absolute best way to do that is to end every single crucial conversation by clarifying exactly what's going to happen next. Don't leave any room for ambiguity. Figure out who is going to do what, by when, and how are we all going to follow up to make sure it actually gets done. This simple habit prevents so much confusion and builds a culture where people actually do what they say they're going to do. You know, the book's foreword uses this famous quote to frame the entire idea. Choosing to learn these skills, to practice them, that's taking the road less traveled. It's definitely harder. It takes more effort and more thought. But mastering these crucial conversations, well, it can quite literally make all the difference in your life.